Faker is widely considered by many to be the best Ahri player in the world, even being recognized by Riot themselves with a $500 Ahri skin. Whether you think Faker is the best or just one of the best, it's inarguable at this point that he's in the competition. Today, we're going to break down Fakers Ahri in Game 2 against Top Esports at Worlds, and look at how Faker and T1 managed to use Ahri to their advantage. As always, if you're enjoying the videos, please don't forget to subscribe. I've also put a link in the description to my Patreon. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to get started, and as always, we're going to take a look at the game state for both teams. So we can see that the gold lead from both teams is pretty much even. There's a slight gold lead for T1, and they've also got a dragon, but it's not enough that it's going to actually be meaningful in terms of, strength. And focusing on Faker. Faker's got two very difficult side lane matchups in this game. Galio gets push against Ahri, so Galio can push these waves in and keep Ahri pinned under this tower. And also Sylas can get push against Ahri too. After a couple of trades, he can have some threat onto her. And Sylas is one of the few champions which can actually keep up with Ahri as well, because he can steal her ulti and he can chase her. And so whilst Ahri, she usually has that get out of jail free card where she can ulti and get away. Sylas is one of the few champions which can actually keep up with her. Now, we're going to focus on the macro on the next sequence to show how Faker goes from being pinned under his tower to getting an advantage for his team. And the first thing we'll note is that right now, we see Faker clearing a wave under tower. He's clearing a wave under tower, and this wave is a cannon minion wave. Now, clearing cannon minion waves is really, really important, because if you leave the enemy team with a cannon under tower, then they can do a lot of damage to that tower and get plating. And also you lose the gold from the cannon as well. So cannon waves have a very big gold swing in terms of, how much you can get from them. And so we'll see Faker, he's going to catch this cannon minion wave under tower, so he's going to kill these minions. But as soon as this wave dies, we'll see that Faker's actually going to take a base. And at the same time, we see Carrier placing some vision on the bottom side of the map. Now the next objective is about to spawn, and it is this Rift Herald. Sorry, not Rift Herald, second Lava. And we'll see that T1 really wants to contest this, including getting this nice chunk onto Jackie Love, but Carrier is placing that vision in the bottom side, and T1 is getting ready for this contest. And now for Faker, if we look on the minimap, we can see that he's walking through this angle. So he's given up the wave under top tower. But crucially, it is just a 6 creep wave, so he doesn't lose that tower damage as much as if it was a cannon. And also, there's no cannon minion gold there too. So Faker cleared the cannon, and then he says to himself, okay, next wave is 6 creeps, so now I'm going to look to group with the team. And so we'll see that T1 slowly starts this contest off, and Top Esports also would like to take this fight on this objective. Now, very crucially, we'll see that Carrier's saved one of his sweepers, and he's just making sure that he keeps this bush clear, because Faker's about to group with them, and if this bush doesn't have a ward in it from Top Esports, then Faker can get into it. And if Faker can get into it, then he can make a lot of pressure on the Top Esports members. So we'll see that Top places this pink ward to cover their flank, so that if Faker walks out of this bush, then they're covered. But they can't get control of this bush. And both teams, it's kind of really important for them. For Top Esports, they need to be able to get control of this bush, because then they can force the other members of T1 to walk backwards. And for Faker, because he's playing Ahri, he can actually step out and he has tons of threat. So both teams want to try and push this flank, but it's much more important for Top Esports to get it sorted. And we'll see that Tien is going to try and take control of this flank, but Faker is in the bush. And so now, pretty much immediately, the Viego gets blown up. Now, after the Viego gets blown up, we'll see that Faker just continues to reposition himself on this flank because now he can cut off the escape for the top esports members and he can force them to walk up towards this tower. And also, if any of the top esports members try to fight back, then he's got perfectly easy backline access, including on this Ezreal, which is really low. So from here, the fight is pretty much done for top. It's almost completely done. T1 will kill off more members, and then finally at the end, we'll also see Faker flash in and pick up this final kill onto Jackie Love. So this first sequence, really, really cool. Carrier clearing that path for Faker, and Faker knowing, even though he's pinned in, he's choosing that one perfect timer that he can get out and go and do something and help make an advantage for his team. Okay, let's move on to the second clip. Okay, so now we're going to look at the lead up to the fight which we saw in the introduction. Now, one of the things about playing Ahri into Sylas is that it's incredibly important that you don't make a move or you don't try to get involved in something and then lose. Because if Ahri falls behind against Sylas and Galio, it's incredibly hard for him to play the game. So we'll see that for Faker now, that Top Esports has gotten a Rift Herald, and they're going to use this to charge mid. And we'll see that Carrier is going to engage, and they're going to start off a little fight, but nothing major is going to come from this. And we'll see now Faker has hovered towards mid, but he's not going to walk into mid lane because he knows he doesn't make it on time here to get anything done. So he's going to walk straight back down to the bottom side. We can see on the minimap, he's going to walk straight back down to the bottom side of the map and just continue making pressure. And this is really important when you play the Ahri, because if there's something good, then you can move, but it has to be good, because if you make a mistake, you fail, you fall behind, then you're going to get punished incredibly hard. We'll see now Cream TPing on Faker, and immediately takes Faker's ult, and also he's going to use Faker's ult himself as well. And we can see how much pressure that Sylas can put down on Faker. And now we'll see that Faker, again, not walking up to this wave too far, because if he walks up and Sylas goes in on him, then it would not be very good for Faker. Even though he has those 2 kills, this matchup is still really difficult. Okay, so now we'll see Faker rotating over to mid and just supporting his team while they take some damage on the tower. But again, he sees nothing. And so we'll just see again the same thing where Faker just walks back down to the bottom side of the map. He's just walking back down to bottom lane, and we can see that Rakan and Xin Zhao are hovering him so that he's safe to pick up these waves and he's safe to make pressure. Now, this is really important because for the Ahri vs Sylas matchup, you lose in the 1v1. But when you're jungle and your support are nearby, that is a really good opportunity for you to get an extra wave. And this is where we'll see Faker utilizing that. So next objective, which is spawning, is this dragon. I think it spawns maybe in about 25 seconds. And we'll see Faker is based again. And this time we'll see the exact same thing where he's going to walk out and he's going to look to get himself on this flank so that he can support his team when they look to enter this dragon. Now, his team doesn't have first entry into the objective, so Top Esports is going to be able to walk in, place down that vision first, and we'll see just how smartly T1 plays this entrance. So Owner and Carrier just defending that entrance, making sure there's no deep vision comes in so that Galio can't get some flanks in. And now we'll see the setup from the T1 team. We'll see Gumayushi's going to rotate around and position himself where Carrier and Owner are so that he has some frontline. And then we'll see Faker again on this flank, making pressure onto the members of Top Esports when they try to enter. Now this entry is really difficult for T1. There's a Galio off to the side who can make pressure in the same way which Faker can. He's also got his ultimate, so he can reposition in the fight too. And Jackie Love is in kind of a nice position with how this fight starts up. And we'll see T1 do something really incredible, which shows why they're a team which is better than almost every team in the world. So we'll see now that T1 will go in onto Mako. And actually, Faker's going to dash over the wall, and he's not going to hold his spells. He's going to use his spells to one-shot Mako. And we'll see that Zeus and Gumayusi will use this time to push down into the river at this same time. And this is where we see Faker separating himself from other mids too, because now Faker is exposed to the Sylas with a Rakan ultimate. But Faker knows that Sylas has moved just far enough away that he can get his combo off onto Mako and reposition himself back to where he was. And we'll see Faker actually gets hit by the charm, but doesn't get CC'd enough to stop his dash back over the wall. And now we've gone into a situation where they've put down a ton of damage onto the front line of T1, and Galio's used his ulti to reposition with the group. But actually, Gumayushi's in a perfectly safe spot, and they've already done so much damage onto the two members of Top Esports that they've kited out. And so now we'll see Faker again, just holding that flank and just moving down. And ultimately, Top Esports will have to run away, and they'll pick up a kill onto Galio. Okay, so I'm going to finish the video there so I don't make it too long. But just two really cool clips where we see T1 positioning really well to allow Faker have a good angle on the fight, and also the vision from Carrier. But the second thing is just how cool it is from Faker there, that he knows his exact limit, that Sylas is just far enough away that he can use his combo on the front line, which is something you don't often want to do on Ahri, because on Ahri you want to save your cooldowns to the backline to have threat. But Faker knows he has just enough time to do it, which is really, really incredible, and just how Faker is a mile ahead of players, even after 10 or maybe more than 10 years now of playing the game. Okay, thank you very much for watching the video. Again, don't forget to subscribe, and please feel free to check out the Patreon in the bio if you want to support me, and I'm going to keep trying to make more uploads. Yeah. I'm also starting my season soon as well, so I am coaching again this year. I don't think I'm allowed to announce which team yet, but it does mean that the uploads will probably become like once every week now, instead of before I was uploading once every 1 or 2 days. But I'll still try to upload as much as I can. Alright, thank you so much for watching the video. We'll see you next time.